Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are at Spa-Francorchamps, racing the daily race C of this week. We are driving this beautiful pink-colored Nissan Silvia Group 4 car. We are P2 on the grid, and you may have known already that this is the race with the dynamic weather. So there is a chance of rain throughout the race, and we'll see how that will play into the strategy of this race. I'm really excited for this one, actually. We have a good grid position. Let's go, let's see how this race unfolds. We will try to tuck into the slipstream of the guy ahead of us, going through the Erosion Radion complex for the first time. And as you can see, we are firmly in that slipstream. The gap is now... Actually, there's no gap at the moment. We are already ahead. So this will be an easy move coming up to the Lecomp's corners. Braking at our braking point, our regular braking points. We don't overshoot the brakes, and we are already ahead. We are up into the lead. So that's a good start to our race. Coming up to the hairpin for the first time. We are lucky we didn't get collected in the Lecombe corner for the first time. And guy behind was actually an A driver rated driver, and he was actually quite fast, so he will turn up to be quite a challenge for us throughout the upcoming laps. As you can see, he is already attacking. He wants that position back. There was slight contact, nothing too serious. Now these corners are crucial. You have to carry as much speed as you can. Preferably you shouldn't go on that AstroTurf to the left, because it will draw your car to the outside of the track. Now we are onto the back straight. The gap is around 2/10, around 3/10 actually, coming down to 2/10 at the moment. So we will have to defend this chicane, braking at 125 meters between 150 and 100 ports. Going through the chicane for the first time, nicely rounding up lap 1. We are protecting our lead. The gap is now 4/10 to the guy in second place. And this part will be tricky because the gap is already again down to below 3/10, below 2/10 at the moment. But going through the Erosion Radion for the second time, I'm sorry, I believe he made a mistake, because gap just came right up, and as you can hear and see, the rain has arrived, and you can see me looking at that weather radar on the bottom of the screen between the speedometer and the rev counter. So to the left of the speedometer, to the left of the tires meter, I don't know what to call it, there's a meter that shows how wet the track actually is. And you can see there are 3 levels to it. So if that meter is within the first level, basically you might be safe with racing cars or slicks of some sort, but if that meter goes up to the second level, you will definitely want those intermediates, and if it's on the third level, I believe you will want the wets, the full wets. But it's now on the first level, so we have the racing car tires, and I believe we will be safe for now. So we are onto the back straight, and the gap is just over a second now. So we have a little bit of breathing room. So going through here, we are slightly onto that AstroTurf, and that is considered outside the track limits. And that's yeah, that is a penalty. That is a penalty, and just that penalty just distracted us, and we overshoot the brakes coming up to this chicane. So rounding up lap 2 onto the lap 3, the gap behind is less than a second, and we have half a second's penalty. Actually, P7 and P8 went into the pits probably for that intermediates or wet tires. I don't know. They were, I guess, afraid of a little bit of water. Jeez. And speaking of being afraid of water, I guess I was also afraid of water because I just messed up that erosion radion complex completely, slowed down way too much, and as you can see, as a result of that, the gap is coming down, is below half a second right now. I'm trying to be cautious, I'm trying to not overdrive through this rain, and as a matter of fact, I'm being cautious, but I'm not being fast enough, definitely, and that's why P2 has caught up with me. He was definitely faster than me on these conditions. He was more confident with the water, with the rain. And as a result of that, he caught up with me significantly. Now, coming up to Puyon, I will just mess up this corner completely, and this will give this guy the opportunity to overtake me, but turns out he also has a penalty. So we now both have half a second penalties, and I again overshoot the brakes, just a little tap on the behinds, nothing too serious. I mean, the race still is on for both of us. Coming onto the back straight for the third time, we both have half second penalties, so gap will not increase to the leader, which is good, which is always good. We are firmly in that slipstream, we are looking for that move into the chicane. He is defending, he just took the inside line, braking on our braking points. We will not be able to go through here side by side. And after all that fighting, the guy in P3 just caught up to us. And this is what always happens. If you fight too much with someone, the guys behind you will catch up to you. It's just as simple. Now we are onto the front straights, coming up on the erosion radion complex. We are again in the slipstream. We will go through here more confidently this time. Gap doesn't increase that much. We are again in the slipstream. And the guy behind is also in our slipstream, so this can get interesting, or this can get chaotic any moment. Luckily, I guess, yeah, we don't go into the back of him, and the guy behind me just doesn't go into the back of me. And we are both making mistakes with the leader. As you can see, he just ran wide, coming out of the Lecomp's corners. So coming up to this corner, I was like, hey, why not mess this corner up completely, so the guy in P3 can catch up with me and give me a hard time, and that's what exactly happened. And just like that, he caught up with me. He has smelled the blood on the water, and he has came for that kill like a shark. And just like that, we are on the back straight with P3 around 2 tenths or more like a tenth behind us, and we have to defend this position. So if we can take this corner faster than him, and actually we do, we can pull quite a gap. That will be helpful. I'm guessing he was probably hesitant about going through there side by side, so that's why he had to lift. Now the gap is over a second to the guy in P3. And just like that, we are rounding up lap 4, which is actually the halfway mark for this 8-lap race. And the gap to the leader is still under 2 seconds. And we still have around 4 laps left. And you never know, this is Spa, and Spa with rain. So this can go either way. Maybe we will take that lead back. But you know, of course, I'm not just gonna tell you the end of the race right away. So you can stick around and watch this whole video. Going through the Camel Straight for the 5th time. Unfortunately, this time we are not into the slipstream of the guy in front. Gap to P3 is around 7 tenths. And P3 is like, actually was like burning to make this move, burning to take P2. He's going left and right, looking for that space, looking for that opening. I'm actually doing quite a job defending his position, but maybe I'm defending too much, maybe I'm fighting too much, we are fighting too much, because the guy ahead is just disappearing in the distance. And even like in that last sector, he has pulled a significant gap to both of us, and right there I make a mistake and P3 gets that position back he always wanted. But I'm not taking any of it. You know what? I was like, I'm just gonna send it. I'm just gonna reclaim this position. Maybe it wasn't that thoughtful of me, because coming up to the back straight, yes, I overtook this guy, but he is like now in the slipstream and just a tenth behind me. So things are not looking good for me at the moment. If we can go through here beautifully, and we do, and we also have to defend this chicane, let's see if we can. Hard onto the brakes, engine braking with the downshifts and everything, using all that stopping power, and we have somehow defended that position. It wasn't a good lap. 2:32 around here is not good, and he is not taking any of it either. He is just attacking on the inside and reclaiming that P2. Now we are onto the front straight. I'm lifting slightly to let this guy pass so I can tuck into the slipstream. On the Camel Straight, let's see if this little strategy of mine is going to work. On the Camel Straight, he is swirling all across the track, left and right, trying to break that toe. And actually, you know what? He did a good job defending. I'm trying this move. There's slight contact. I just had to let him take that position. And after all that fighting, P4 actually caught up with us. So now it's a 3-way battle for P2. I mean, fighting like this on the track is fun, although it's not fast. It slows you down. It lets the guys behind you catch up to you. And it's definitely adds up to that stress, adds up to that anxiety. and it can push you to make a mistake. And we don't want that. We don't want that. All we want is a second place on that podium. We want that second place, at least. Running slightly wide on the exit of that corner. Now these corners are crucial. We are heading onto the back straight. We are half a second behind of the guy in P2. We'll try to tuck into that slipstream as much as we can, hoping that we can make a move coming up to the chicane. Now 4/10 behind. Again, nope, the gap is not decreasing, it's increasing if anything. I mean, he went through that corner beautifully. Definitely carried more speed than I did. Now we are into the last 2 laps. So these 2 laps are actually crucial. There are 2 things we need to do. First of all, we have to keep this Roman MG guy behind us. And secondly, if we can, I mean, this is not a must, but it would be beautiful if we can pull it off, obtain the second position back. I mean, I will be happy with the podium at the end of this race, but the second place of the podium will make me more happy. You can see he is kind of swirling across the track right and left, but I don't think he's worrying too much about an attack on my side because he didn't really defend that at the end of the Camel Straight. Now he is just, I mean, if you caught that, he ran slightly wide on the exits of that turn, and in return of it, he gained a penalty. He gained a half a second penalty, and we have a lap and a half left in this race. So things are looking good for us because we have increased the gap to P4, and guy in P2 now has a half a second penalty, and we are approaching to the penalty zone, and we are definitely closer to him than half a second. So yeah, it looks like we can get that P2 position back. You can see the bar slightly loading up on his car. He is about to slow down for his penalty, and we will definitely catch him on the straight, and it will cost him, I mean, look at it, I was 3/10 behind. It will cost him more than a second. Now he is already 5/10 behind, 6/10 behind, 7/10 behind. So I was like 3/10 behind of him, and that half a second penalty actually cost him a good second. Now we only have 1 lap left to go in this race. If we can hold her, actually that was my fastest lap throughout the whole race. Gaining back P2, scoring my fastest lap, that was quite a lap actually. So all we have to do is to go up Erosion Radion for the last time, and let's hope we don't mess this one up, because I'm really happy at this moment of the race. I mean, even the sun has started shining again, guys. I mean, what's that about? Isn't that like quite metaphorical? Now surely we don't have to defend this too much because he's 3/10 up, just casually braking and not really. This was just such a pain. It's just felt so bad because seeing those guys walking out on me after that mistake of mine and handing them the podium in a silver plate, so to speak. It just felt so bad. I mean, you can tell by the way I'm driving right now. I was devastated. I was devastated. The 3rd place, the podium is long gone. It's like we have half a lap left, and we are 3 seconds behind the podium. Now from now on till the end of the race, all we can hope for is a mistake on their side. I mean, let's see. This is Spa, this is a dangerous track, and they are closely racing to each other. I mean, I suppose everything can happen. Everything can happen. Let's hope for the best. Maybe we will get that podium back. We will be coming onto the back straight for the last time in this race. And actually, I believe just Slater is serving a huge penalty. He was a good 5 seconds ahead of me, and after that penalty of his, I was able to pass him. Now he's a second behind. We have obtained the podium back, braking at the 125 meters board. Just going through this chicane for the last time throughout this race. I mean, I feel this was such a good race. I mean, I will call this a good recovery again. At least I wasn't able to obtain P2, but I was able to obtain the podium. But you know what? After that race, I felt like there were so many mistakes on my side, so I had to give this one another go. And this is that race. This is that race where I focused like 110% completely and did my best. This will be a short clip from that race. I mean, I'm again starting at P2. We have this Alpha something guy behind of us, and we are behind the Supra. Now on the Camel Straight, we are firmly in the slipstream of Kama, and we will try this move on the outside, coming up to the Lecomp's corners, beautifully moving on the outside. Now on the again outside for this third part of the Lecomp's, and approaching the hairpin, we have successfully took the lead of the race. We are skipping a little forward to the end of lap 4. You can see the fastest lap is by Kokumis, is 2:30.6, but we will take that title. We will score the fastest lap of the race with a 2:30.4, which was actually my best ever lap on one of these races, and at the end we will win this race by a margin of a second from this Alpha Capri guy. And you know what, this felt actually good. This felt actually good. This was the last race before I turned off my PlayStation for the end of the day, and you know what, and it felt good. And on top of that, I have actually received the A driver rating after winning this race, which was like the cherry on top, and it will be interesting to see if I will be able to keep it or become an A+ driver. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again next time. Cheers.